రైట్ సైడ్
చెనకేశంలో
ఈ దేశం వ్యవసాయ విప్లవం అనేది రెవల్యూషనరీ పార్టీలు కొంతమంది మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. రెడ్ స్టార్కి సంబంధించినటువంటి ఈ దేశం పరిస్థితుల గురించి మీరు చెప్పాలి.
Many Marxist-Leninist parties in this country are speaking of agrarian revolution. What is your party's position on that question?
Agrarian revolution.
Ideology.
Okay. Government agrarian revolution by our party, that is a communist position. According to the communist position, Marxist-Leninist position, by agrarian revolution we mean the land to the tiller. That means the basis of agrarian revolution is land to the tiller. Completing this democratic question, the democratic process of resolving the landless question. That means the land should be with the real tillers on the soil. That is what is meant by agrarian revolution, and it's part of the democratic question also. So you can have a democratic revolution. It is part of inalienable part of the democratic revolution. That land should be in the hands of the real tillers of the soil. In India, we know because of the India's specific situation is there. It is different from the Euro situation or other countries. Here, because of the caste system, the land is historically with the upper caste. The real tillers of the soil, the Dalits and other oppressed, the real peasants, they are denied land rights. So their right to land can be resolved only through a revolution, and this revolution is part of the democratic revolution and the all other relations of production, feudal as well as the who are not real tillers of the soil. So they should be devoid of the ownership of the land, and the land should be entrusted to the real tillers of the soil. This is the essence of agrarian revolution, and this is, as the Communist Party leads it, naturally it will be connected with the social transformation, the whole process of social transformation. Naturally it will be a stage in the advancement towards socialism. Naturally this is a stage by which the land should be entrusted with the real tillers of the soil. Then as the Communist Party advances, naturally it will move towards a socialist society, and then towards the establishment of communism, where private ownership of the means of production will be there. Naturally all means of production, including land, will be owned by the whole society. This is what is meant by agrarian revolution. In brief, that I am explaining. Naturally, in India, agrarian revolution will be clubbed with, will be coupled with the resolution of many tasks. The caste question will come, and other because who are the intermediaries, who are actually exploiters, who are nothing to do with agriculture, who have nothing to do with tilling of the soil. So naturally, such sections, such contradictions will be eliminated. This is in essence what is meant by agrarian revolution.
భూమి అనేది ప్రధానమైన విషయం కదండి మనిషికి. ఆ భూమి లేని రైతాంగం కూలి పనులు చేసుకున్నటువంటి కూలీకి సంబంధించినటువంటి సంఘాలు మన పార్టీకి బలోపేతం చేయవలసిన ఆవశ్యకత ఉందా లేదా?
In present, that is we are in soil, clean the land, most of them are landless. Is there necessity or not of strengthening the party among those landless? If your party feels there is necessity, what are the practical steps you are taking to establish your party among the actual tillers of the soil, that is landless poor.
So our party program itself clearly states our task in the present front. Naturally, in the agricultural sector, what should be our task in the present? And as part of that, the party as I have already stated, the party have a perspective, and with that perspective, the party is building a peasant movement. We are having a peasant movement, we have the peasant organization, and we have the agricultural workers organization, and our task is, which I have already stated, and this is clubbed with, in India it will be connected with the caste question also. Naturally, it will be a democratic process. It is part of the democratic revolution by which these exploitative, intermediary, parasitic sections in agriculture will be eliminated. And today we know that the present question or the task in the agrarian front is connected with the struggle against corporate capital also. So today corporate capital, that means imperialism, and it's a local Indian this bourgeoisie. These sections are also having their dominance over the land. Today land is corporatized through, for example, the Modi's farm laws, which are aimed at what is called ultimately giving the or entrusting land with the corporate classes. If the land, these farm laws are implemented, what will happen when contract farming comes into being? Naturally, it will lead to ultimate takeover of the land by the corporate classes. So it is a multi-pronged strategy. We need a multi-pronged attack against the corporate class, against remnants of feudalism, and these those sections which are actually not performing. That means, so what should be the democratic, what should be the proper task in the agrarian front? Such sections who are not doing that, they will be eliminated in the process of struggle. Naturally, there will be peasants also, peasants in the sense that there may be peasants who are owning land. Naturally, they will be taking the soil, and they are facing so many problems. For example, the input-output policies. Input-output policy means the prices of agricultural inputs, which are dictated by corporates. Prices of these agricultural outputs. This is also dictated by corporates. So all these questions are to be resolved. So the real peasants, who are the real cultivators, they should be the with them agriculture should be entrusted. This is our task. So with that perspective, we are moving in the present context. So today our party program aims at, that means in India, majority of the more than 50% of the people are depending on agriculture. Naturally, this is a question which should be taken up in a broader perspective. For example, in Western countries, in USA for instance, there the percentage of population depending on agriculture is less than 2%. Just 1.5% of the total population is depending on agriculture. The present population of USA is larger than the peasants. The number of present population, people in prisons, their number is larger than the total number of peasants in USA. But in our country, that is why India is an agricultural country. There almost 50% of the people are depending on agriculture. So we have to address that question in that perspective. Naturally, there will be landless people. Everybody should, it is not possible to entrust all with the land. So you have to resolve this question by liberating them. By resolving this question, they should be employed, they should be accommodated by the social transformation. When the social society is transformed, everybody should be accommodated through the all embracing, all-round development of the economy and society. People should be accommodated accordingly. So it doesn't mean that you can accommodate everybody in agriculture. There will be definitely be a limit, and the people who are not, or actually the surplus population. They will be accommodated in other lines of production industry or agro-based industries, small scale industries. So many areas should be developed. In that way, it should be accommodated. This is the essence of my understanding of this question.
క్లుప్తంగా చెప్తాం మాట్లాడతాం క్లుప్తంగానే మాట్లాడతాం నేను క్లాసులో చెప్పినట్టు చాలా చెప్తున్నాను కదా. రెండోది 1987 తర్వాత రైతాంగ పోరాటాలు ఎందుకు విజృంభించలేదు? ఆల్ రెవల్యూషనరీ పార్టీస్ ఎక్కడ చేసినాయి? రెవల్యూషనరీ సంఘాలు కానీ, దాని అనుబంధ సంఘాలు కానీ, పార్టీ సంఘాలు కానీ రైతాంగ పోరాటాలు ఎక్కడ విజృంభించలేదు. అంటే అక్కడ పోరాటాలు జరగలేదు 1987 నుంచి కూడా, 87 నుంచి. దానికి కారణాలు
after 1987, no large scale peasant armed revolts has not taken place. What may be the reason for the setback? That is the question.
Comrade, actually, in the agriculture sector,
Direct is the answer.
Armed struggle or unarmed struggle, there is no, for example, today the peasants in India, the biggest peasants farmers movement is going on. It is not armed, but it is directed against the corporate classes.
నేను చెప్పిన రైతాంగ కూలీ రేటు కోసం కానీ, కౌలు రేటు కోసం కానీ పోరాటాలు లేవు అంటున్నాను 50 నుంచి. అవును కాదు.
After 1987,
87.
there is no effective peasant struggles. Not saying armed.
Okay, that's because there is no movement for leading that. So you should have a program. For that you should have a concrete understanding of the society. What is the concrete situation? So first you should have a diagnosis. Only if you have a correct diagnosis, you can have a proper treatment. So first you should have a concrete analysis of the agrarian sector, agricultural situation in our country, the class forces which are there. So based on that you have to chop out a program. And it is based on that program you have to make organizational advancement. So in that way, such an initiative is lacking. That is why since 1987 no proper peasant movement is advanced. It is a political ideological question. Connected with that, it is an organizational question also.
భారతదేశంలో రెవల్యూషనరీ పార్టీకి సంబంధించినటువంటి ఐక్యత అనేది పొరవడింది కదండి. దానికి గల కారణం
What is the probable reasons for the disunity of the revolutionary forces, and what are the possibilities for the unity of the revolutionary forces?
This is a question that is there for a very long time. This is not a new question. Right from the beginning of Marxism itself, there were differences within the revolutionary movement during the time of Marx and Engels. There were disunity. So it is continuing. So on analyzing the situation, on evaluating the situation, there is different perspective. There is left sectarianism, there is a right opportunism. We know. So these trends were there. So only those sections, those forces who can make a concrete evaluation, and based on that concrete evaluation, who are capable of putting forward a correct program. So for that you should have an ideological political perspective. This ideological political perspective means your capability to concretely evaluate. So such forces can lead the social transformation. Now the problem which you said, now what is the problem is that naturally this our approach our evaluation of the reality. So different sections see reality differently. So those sections who can evaluate the reality, the situation in a concrete perspective, those who are capable of applying the revolutionary theory. So it's a question of applying the revolutionary theory in a proper way. Only those who are capable of applying the revolutionary theory in a proper way can able to lead a revolution. So those forces who are incapable of doing that, there will be such forces are not in a position to do that. Naturally, this will lead to differences in among the revolutionary sections, and these differences may be ideological, political, and these differences may also be with regard to the way in which organizational steps are to be taken. So based on different issues, there may be differences are there. So this is not a new thing, it is there. It is basically there. Everything is connected with the application of Marxist-Leninist theory to the concrete situation. So when you are faced